Good evening, America and the rest of the world. Xander J. Hobson here, stand-up comedian, entertainer, director, and producer of boxing documentaries and internet troll to those who need internet trolling. It's another episode of The Devil's Advocate brought to you by the Brilliant Artist Movement. Folks, listen, I'm trying to grow the platform, so please subscribe, like this video, share it, and by all means, leave a comment in the comment section. I love exchanging opinions and points of views with you all, and hopefully you got something nice to say. But if you are a detractor and you feel the need to detract, by all means, I encourage you to do so. But just know, if you get nasty in my comment section, I am the troll's troll, and trolling me will not be tolerated. So anyway, right? I've been doing a lot of thinking about Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, the man, the myth, the legend. Kevin Samuels, the man who dug himself up from the dirt. Kevin Samuels might not have been high value getting started, but he's damn sure high value now. So that's neither here nor there, because money doesn't make the man. Man makes the money. And there are things that Kevin say that I totally disagree with. I made videos about him. Matter of fact, Kevin Samuels is the reason how I became the devil's advocate and the troll's troll. But Kevin does say some things that I do agree with, and we must be fair. But the purpose of this video is Kevin Samuels is not only a relationships guru, he is an image consultant. And I tell you, there are some people out here in this world, they need Kevin Samuels to be their image consultant. Why? Because they don't have nobody. And because they don't have nobody, they come walking out of the house looking like a hot mess. Listen, I see a whole bunch of people who are in need of image consultants. And I guess image consultants tell people how to dress. I guess that's what they do. Personally, I've always had a woman in my life to help me match that little thing up here and there, so I don't walk out of the house looking like a gaduff. And if you don't know what a gaduff is, I mean a goddamn fool. Folks, let me tell you, you have so many people that don't have a clue how bad they look. Why? Because they don't have a husband, they don't have a wife, they don't have an image consultant to tell them, yo, don't wear that shit. See, when you don't have nobody in your life to say, yo, don't wear that shit, you look like a goddamn spectacle. You take O'Shea Duke Jackson, for example, right? Folks, O'Shea got on these airwaves and talked about how pathetic his grandmother sent him out the door. I have no doubt that O'Shea walked around looking like a country hobo. And why? Why did O'Shea walk out of the house looking like a country hobo? Because he didn't have nobody to say to his grandmother, don't send that boy out there looking like that. He's already funny looking enough. And that is indeed what the situation is. Let me tell you something. You don't have to be the most gorgeous person in the world. But if you know how to throw that shit on and come out the house looking like $1 million, you'll turn some heads. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. It's a whole lot of people. They might not look all that great, but by the time they throw that shit on and they walk out their house, they look like $1 million. Then they got a winning personality, a winning smile, and they got a lot of confidence. You can't tell them shit. You take Mr. Lucario for a second, right? I talked about Mr. Lucario before. He's a black Bill Dukes looking motherfucker. But let me tell you something. Mr. Lucario, he throws that shit on. Now, let's understand something real quick. I'm not taking cheap shots at O'Shea. I can refer to O'Shea as ugly because O'Shea referred to himself as ugly. I talked about Mr. Lucario because guess what? Me and Mr. Lucario, we play for the same team. We black dudes. We dark, chocolate, crispy dudes, right? Crispy like Tommy Sotomayor. But I'm saying that to say this. Because people like myself and Mr. Lucario, we throw that shit on, man, listen, you can't tell me or Mr. Lucario a goddamn thing about ourselves. We know we look good. We feel good. And you know what? We got the confidence to back it up. Now, I said all that to say this, folks. Let me tell you something. there are so many people that come out of the house looking like a damn spectacle. And you know what makes it so bad? A lot of these people walking around with this foolishness on. And they walking around here like they big shit. But in all actuality, they're not even a small fart. You got these guys coming out here, they look utterly ridiculous. They look ridiculous. First and foremost, I'm talking about the tight pants legs. You know these guys, they ain't got no real woman, because a woman, what man walks around with tight pants legs on, really? Okay, if you're gonna tuck them in your boots, that's one thing, but just tight pants legs, really? And a lot of these sisters, you got some of these sisters, they come out here, their hair is all kind of different colors. They got these big, stupid eyebrows on. Listen, they look ridiculous. You know why they look ridiculous? Because they don't have a man or woman in their life to say, yo, don't wear that shit. You have to have somebody in your life to say, yo, don't wear that shit. Don't wear that. I'm just speaking facts shit, you know. So I'm gonna really sum this thing up, right? Because there's no need to be long-winded. You know, you got a lot of people who are in need of a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, or boyfriend, or an image consultant. Because again, a lot of you walk around looking like a hot mess. I'm gonna cap this story off with a shameless plug. So I was hanging out with a lady friend of mine over the weekend. We were going to a playing, a viewing, a screening. A friend of mine, she runs a production company, and she wanted to show her film. And I made the mistake of not going to this woman's house and helping her pick out her gear. Now, the crazy thing about it was she was over my house and she helped me pick out my gear, but I didn't help her pick out her gear. So when we got down to where we was going, we got out the car, I noticed that this woman didn't have on any stockings and she had on open-toed shoes. Now, that would probably be cool if it was the spring or maybe even the fall, but it was at least 35 degrees outside. And the sheer notion of this woman who was with me going anywhere with a pair of open-toed shoes on without stockings or socks, well, that was just something that I couldn't stomach. Number one, I cared about her well-being. It was freezing out there. It was cold as hell. Matter of fact, it was so cold out there, the politicians kept their hands in their own pockets. But the fact is, right, in my opinion, it was just too cold for anybody in their right mind to be walking around with a pair of open-toed shoes on, no stockings and no socks. In all actuality, she should have put on a nice pair of boots. I've seen this woman's wardrobe. She got a lot of nice stuff. But for whatever the reason, she wanted to wear these goddamn open-toed shoes. But guess what? No, the hell you're not. Not with me. You're not going to do it. Now, since I wasn't around to say to her, don't wear that, I said, babe, come on, you can't do that. So she went back to the car, put on some shoes, and we go to the screening. And she's hot with my ass, hot, right? And you know how women are. They gotta have the last word. And we up in the place, and she made it a point to point out to me every single woman in there who had on open-toed shoes. And I let her do just that. And when she finally finished pointing out all the women who had on open-toed shoes, I threw down my big joker by saying to her, you know the difference between all them women and you? She was like, what? She didn't have a clue. I said, none of them have a man with them. So with that said, folks, man or woman, you gotta have somebody in your corner to say to you, don't wear that shit. If you don't have a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, I think you might need the services of Kevin Samuels. And if Kevin Samuels is too high for you, or you don't want to use Kevin for whatever reason, call Hardcore Tito. Hardcore Tito is an image consultant as well. So, with that said, folks, I'm done with it. Bam!
A little boy climbed an apple tree. He stole an apple, then two, then three. And when he started to climb back down, he slipped and he landed on the ground. devil. Up jumped the devil. And every time he turned around, up jumped the devil in the white nightgown.